Before this video starts, here is an animation of a wind pump that is designed to thicken the Arctic ice. If you want more information on this project, visit the Thickening Arctic Ice YouTube channel. The link to it will be in the description. It's halfway through the 2016 Formula 1 World Championship, and that means that in a little bit of time, rumours about team changes and driver lineups and things like that are going to start surfacing. So I decided to beat them all to it and see if I can predict successfully what the 2016 Formula 1 driver lineup is going to be. Of course, it's only halfway through the season, so some driver announcements and some announcements and various things haven't actually been announced yet, so it's going to be hard to predict it, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So here we go. So first up is Mercedes, and this was always likely to be confirmed. I mean, even with the controversies of a few comings together this year and a lot of just various controversy between the two in the last few years, it is going to be Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Of course, despite the fact that there's been a lot of hassle around this driver pairing, they are still first and second in the championship, so Mercedes are going to go for them again, and this has already been completely confirmed. Rosberg signed the contract the other week, and the contract is done and dusted, really. So there were talks about Pascal Wehrlein going to Mercedes, but I don't think that's going to happen for at least another 2 years, maybe. Probably more than that. Actually, I think Rosberg signed for another 3 years, so I don't know. I don't know what Hamilton's contract's like, but yeah, for the meantime, Mercedes is staying exactly how it is. Anyway, now for Red Bull Racing. Again, another lineup that is completely confirmed. It is again going to be Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen. You can see Ricciardo's stats here. Ricciardo, of course, got his first pole position earlier this year at the Monaco Grand Prix. Monaco was always likely to be a track where the Red Bulls went strongly, because if you think about it, Mercedes tend to be good around high-speed circuits, and with the slow speed circuits, the Mercedes doesn't really tend to know what to do with itself. So, and Red Bull's always been good at street circuits as well. If you think back to Singapore last year, Red Bull really went strongly there as well. And anyway, now you're seeing Max Verstappen's stats on the screen. Never mind getting his first pole this year. Max Verstappen got his first win this year. My goodness. And at the age of just 18 as well. He's F1's youngest driver. Definitely an upcoming talent, and I'm very pleased actually that Red Bull has kept him for another year. He was promoted to that position earlier this year when Daniil Kvyat was demoted to Toro Rosso. Anyway, now for the Ferrari driver lineup, and I actually looked the other day and found out that Kimi Raikkonen is beating Sebastian Vettel in the championship, which is quite amazing, seeing as the last few years Vettel's been completely dominating that pairing, and well, last year I mean. So Raikkonen just proving that he hasn't lost all his talent now. He may be the oldest driver in F1, but he's not lost everything. And of course, this lineup is again completely confirmed. Ferrari is going with Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel again. There were talks, as you might know, about Charles Leclerc going to Ferrari. He's on the Ferrari Young Driver Programme, of course, but I don't think he will. In fact, you'll see him later on in this video, because, well, actually, I think he's going to be in part 2, because I'm going to be talking about him a bit again. But yeah, the Ferrari lineup for now, completely confirmed. Kimi Raikkonen, Sebastian Vettel, both champions. A very strong lineup. Anyway, now for Williams. Now, both of these drivers, interestingly, are unconfirmed, and there have been talks about Jenson Button going to Williams, but I think Valtteri Bottas is going to cement his position at Williams. He's been definitely proving his speed the last 3 or so years, because he's been at Williams for 4 years now. First year looked a bit iffy, but the last few years he's really shown some real pace. He scored 9 podiums with the team, and even one fastest lap. and he's beating his teammate currently this year. Talking of his teammate, I don't think it's going to be Jenson Button. I think next year Felipe Massa is going to stay with the team, not Jenson Button. I think that the Jenson Button rumour was is just... Although Claire Williams has been talking about it, I think it's mainly just people just wanting a good news article, really. I mean, it would make a lovely story for Jenson Button to go back to the team he started F1 in, but I really don't think he will. I think that the lineup at Williams is going to be exactly the same. Now, here's another name that from Williams this year, Alex Lynn, who is the current Williams test driver. Now, again, there have been talks about him taking Massa's space in place instead of Jenson Button. In fact, maybe Alex Lynn and Jenson Button would be teammates, some people are saying, but I really don't think so. I mean, he might have won the 2013 Macau Grand Prix, but I think that was he hasn't really achieved anything other that impressive, so Alex Lynn I don't think will be going to Williams next year. Force India now, their driver lineup is completely confirmed. We got Sergio Perez, who has been showing some really quick pace the past couple of seasons. He's got 7 podiums, 3 fastest laps, almost qualified third at Baku this year, but well, he did qualify third, but he got a grid drop because of a gearbox change after a crash in qualifying. Didn't matter to him though. He overtook 5 cars and finished third. Anyway, here is Nico Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg is also confirmed for next year. Of course, he won the Le Mans 24-hour last year, so it definitely takes a skilled driver to do that. Of course, Hulkenberg famous for getting a pole position in his first season, all the way back in 2010 with Williams Formula 1. He's got 2 fastest laps in his career, 106 starts. Interestingly, he's more experienced than I thought he was. Anyway, they do have a test driver who is Alfonso Celis Jr. And earlier on this year, there were talks about Alfonso Celis Jr. going to Force India, but I don't think he will, because Alfonso Celis Jr. he's more for the sponsorship than the actual talent. I mean, he does have a bit of talent, but he's never really achieved anything brilliant. And I think until he does, he's going to stay as a test driver. Anyway, Toro Rosso now. So Carlos Sainz Jr. has been confirmed, but seat number 2 is completely open. So there's Carlos Sainz Jr. But Sainz, of course, is the son of Carlos Sainz Sr., who is a famous rally driver, multiple World Rally Championship champion. He's been showing some good pace. Of course, he was Max Verstappen's teammate last year and actually matched him for pace in a lot of events, which is saying something because Max Verstappen is quick. Anyway, now for the open spot number 2, and I don't think it's going to be Daniel Kvyat. I think it's going to be Pierre Gasly, who's been showing some pace in GP2. He's running 2nd this year in GP2. Actually, I think he's now equal on points with Sergei Sirotkin. Won Eurocup Formula Renault 2.0 in 2013. Definitely a quick driver, and I think that because Daniel Kvyat hasn't really been impressing that much this year, I think Pierre Gasly will get the drive next year. Talking of Daniel Kvyat, I think he's going to have to settle for either a test driver role or he's going to have to go to another racing series next year, because I think that Daniel Kvyat is probably going to be out. Of course, he was demoted from Red Bull earlier this year to the young drivers team of Toro Rosso after multiple different incidents in China and Russia, and I'm afraid I think he's going to be out of F1 after this year. Anyway, now for McLaren, there's been a lot of controversy around McLaren. Fernando Alonso is completely confirmed for McLaren. There he is, the double world champion of 2005 and 2006, but seat 2 is still completely open, which is very well, it's unusual for McLaren, and when McLaren leaves a seat open, you know that there's going to be a lot of controversy surrounding it. For example, Jenson Button. Now, Jenson Button is the most experienced driver in F1. He's been in for 17 years now. But I think it's going to be Stoffel Van Dorn that takes his seat next year, because Button isn't confirmed for next year. Van Dorn, of course, stood in for Alonso in one race this year, the Bahrain Grand Prix, and actually scored the team's first point of the year. That was after Fernando Alonso had his absolute horror crash in Australia. And Stoffel Van Dorn, of course, GP2 champion of 2014, second to Kevin Magnussen in Formula Renault 3.5 last year. I mean, 2013, not last year. I think Van Dorn's going to take the seat. And that leaves a question mark around Jenson Button. Will he go to Williams? Will he stay at McLaren? I don't think so. I don't think so for either of them. I think Jenson Button's probably going to have to try his hand at another racing series. I think he might actually be leaving Formula 1, which is massive for Formula 1, because Jenson Button, of course, 2009 Formula 1 champion, 15 wins to his name. He's a big driver in the sport's history. So it's a definite shame to lose him, but I'm afraid I think it's going to happen. Although I do like the thought of seeing him in endurance racing. I think he's the kind of good, consistent driver you need for endurance racing. Maybe in the WEC, LMP1, LMP2, GT racing maybe. Mark Webber's already said that he'd be happy to be his teammate in the World Endurance Championship. I think we could be seeing Jenson Button going there in the future. Anyway, that's it for part 1 of this little F1 driver 2017 predictions. Join us for part 2, where I will be discussing Haas F1 team, Renault, Sauber and Manor. See you then.